What's going on, Bully fam? It's your boy, the educator, the scientist, Mr. Double Muscle Line Bulls, bringing you another quick episode of Breeders Hacks. So today, we're going to be talking about bringing females into heat. Did you even know that you can do this? Is it something you should do? How to do it? Things like that. So we're going to cover that today, so stay tuned. All right, Bully fam. So I've had people in the comments, I've had people DM me, asking me about, heat shot, bringing females into heat, what I thought, things like that, The first thing that I'll say, and just to be mindful of this, guys, is, I'm not a vet. I'm just a breeder that's been doing this for some time now, and these are just the things that we do here, and whatnot. So always just keep that in mind, and any real medical advice, take that up with your vet. You know what I'm saying? This is just what we do here. The other thing is when it comes to heat shots, right? I'm a little bit familiar with them, but by no means am I like an expert when it comes to like heat shots. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've used them over the years, you know what I'm saying? But it's not something that, especially now, I really don't use it anymore. And I'm going to go into that deeper and explain as to why. But I have used it time to time, and I'll give you guys my experience, some experiences that my fellow breeders have experienced, things like that. And just my overall knowledge of this, you know what I'm saying? I would like to say that I definitely do know more than probably the average breeder about this. But yeah, like I said, by any means, I'm not an expert on heat shots. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if there's such a thing. Anyway, so heat shot, right? So understanding the whole process and bringing females into heat and things like that. For people who don't know what heat shot is, things like that, I'm gonna get you up to speed. So anyway, right? So with heat shot, essentially what it is, right? And essentially what you're doing is you're bringing the females into heat. And let's just pump the brakes and backtrack, right? This is something that you don't want to do if the female is like too young, is like a puppy, things like that. You want to make sure that the dog is of breeding age. And when I say of breeding age, definitely over a year old. You know what I'm saying? There's really no reason as to why you should be bringing in a female that's under a year, and even me, I won't use it on a dog that's a year old. I'll wait till way later. The thing is, for me, is just the fact that, some dogs come into heat later than others. So you just gotta be patient, you know what I'm saying? But essentially, like I was saying, the reason why someone would want to use like a heat shot is really just for the fact that maybe like the female has not come into heat now, and now she's going on 2 years, 3 years, things like that, you know what I'm saying? Especially closer to like the 3-year mark. You want her to get that first heat in, you know what I'm saying? So for her overall health, actually, you know what I'm saying? That could be actually a bad thing if she's not having her first heat. So you would want to bring that first heat in. That would make more sense, and essentially those are the times that you're going to want to use a heat shot. Not because you missed a breeding and you want to bring the female back in so then you can go ahead and get the breeding done. I've done an episode on another episode going into depth as far as like how the female goes through the whole cycle to a degree similar as if she is having the puppies, even if she's not. So to disrupt that cycle in between and now try to bring her back into heat can have some repercussions. So that's definitely something to be mindful of, when you're trying to bring your female into heat. Like I said, now if she's of breeding age and she hasn't had any heat, or even if she's had her first heat, but it's now going on, a year plus, for my guys who, really want to bring that female into heat and are going to still try this stuff, even though I highly recommend not to anyway, at the very minimum, you should wait like 6 months. Let the female try to come into heat on her own. You know what I'm saying? And that's essentially what we do here now. I don't, like I said, when I first kind of got started, The idea of heat shot sounds enticing to, oh, I can bring the female in and things like that, but you got to use your brain. You got to use common sense. You're playing with hormones and her body and things like that. And like I said, I've tried heat shot, and to my experience, I mean, it works. It works. You know what I'm saying? From my experience, it's worked. But I've also used it responsibly. I waited and things like that, and I made sure that it was an ample amount of time before I brought her into heat. You know what I'm saying? Before I started that cycle all over again, things like that. Fast forward to now, I'm patient. I'll wait. You know what I'm saying? Unless I feel like it can be affecting her health by not having a heat, I would consider it, but I really don't use it anymore. Yeah, I just don't. So now, this is another thing that a lot of people don't know about, right? When it comes to heat shots, they're classified together, similar at least in my opinion, similar to like steroids. They say, oh, steroids, but there's different like drugs and compounds within that group. Same thing when it comes to heat shot. There's different drugs that I guess people use, but they just all label it heat shot. So with that being said, there's like 4 that come to mind. The first 2 being the more like popular that I think more people know of and that I've actually used, which is PG 600, right? PG 600 is probably the most popular heat shot that I know of. A lot of breeders know about this, and essentially what it is, I mean, it's a vial here, and like I said, I have it, never really used it. It's a little bottle like this. You go ahead and give an injection, and it brings the females into heat. This is made and is for swine. This is for pigs. This isn't for. It wasn't made for dogs. You know what I'm saying? But people have used this and had success. Now, what I'll say about PG 600 from at least my experience, yet again, I've used PG 600 maybe like once, and it was fine. It worked, but I've heard of other breeders having kind of some horror stories when it comes to using PG 600. Kind of talking on, the downsides of heat shot, for example, one being, like I said, with the PG 600, just messed up the female's heat cycle, you know what I'm saying? And the female was really kind of like never the same. That's kind of the horror stories that I've heard with PG 600. So to be honest, if I'm going to use heat shot, I probably will not use it. That's just me, if I have a female, like I said, that health wise, and I'm going to show you another alternative. If that alternative doesn't work, then maybe I would try PG 600. Yet again, outweighing, has she come into how long has she come into heat versus, do we really need to get her into heat, things like that, but I would probably stay away from this. You know what I'm saying? Just my opinion. Now, the next thing is HCG. HCG stands for human chorionic gonadotropin. I'm thinking I'm pronouncing that correctly. If not, you could Google search it, whatever. Anyway, this is another form of heat shot, right? So now this is actually like for humans. What I find it to be, and I've used this actually more times. I've used this a multitude of times actually. Like I said, throughout breeding. Like I said, I don't do heat shot really anymore, but I have used HCG more often. And in the times that I've used HCG, what I find is HCG to be obviously not as strong as PG 600, but what I will say is, it works. As long as you're giving the female ample amount of time, it typically works. You know what I'm saying? So with the HCG, what it essentially does is it increases like progesterone synthesis, so that it induces ovulation throughout the estrous cycle. What does that mean? It pretty much just means, in simple terms, it'll help bring the female into heat and start ovulation, which is what you need in order to have puppies. You know what I'm saying? So a big difference between HCG and say like PG 600 is with HCG, they're both injection, but HCG you're gonna give an injection every single day until the female reaches like a 5 progesterone meaning she's ovulating. Like that's the key. You're giving an injection every single day, so her progesterone levels go higher and higher and higher until she reaches ovulation, where now she's releasing, you know, the eggs, ready to get fertilized, you know, ready to, you know, do your breedings and have puppies, you know. So ovulation is the key. That's where you want to get to with HCG. With PG600, for at least from what I found, and yet again, I'm not an expert in heat shots, but it's one shot, one deal, that's it, you know. So now I've had some followers and some subscribers mention some other names of some kind of like heat shots other than those two things. Another thing that you have to be mindful of is like some breeders don't even know what heat shot they have, actually, to be honest. Like some breeders get some cheap stuff from, I've seen some cheap stuff from China. They don't even know what it is. Some of the China stuff is like vitamin like B in a shot or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Which is true. I mean, I was speaking to another breeder about this. I believe it was like vitamin B or D, something like that. You're gonna have to search it online. But long story short, he was explaining how if the female has enough, that it'll actually cause the female to actually come into heat on her own, you know, which, I mean, is something that he said he tried and done and worked successfully. I haven't done it, so my knowledge is limited on it. But hey, if that's an episode you guys want to see, drop a comment. I'll do some research. But anyway, like I was saying, so some of the China stuff is just like vitamin, I think like vitamin B, like in a shot, you know what I'm saying? And that, I mean, I guess some of it kind of works, you know, but I haven't really seen a lot of success with the China stuff. So, I mean, I really wouldn't recommend it, especially on top of the fact, if you don't know what you're putting in your dog, then you have no business putting it in your dog at all. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely, you know, find out what the compound is. If you don't know what it is, if somebody's just saying, hey, I got heat shot, I would not recommend buying it. That's just me. So other than the Chinese stuff, actually, I'm sorry, there's two other ones that people had said in the comments, in my DMs, things like that. And one of them is estromate. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. And estromate, I found like two things. I never really heard of it, people using it before, to be honest, but it looks like something similar to the effect of like a PG600. It's like for beef and like dairy cattle, you know, to a similar effect as the PG600, even as the HCG. And I mean, then I also saw a powder, and that also made me want to touch on something in this video as well, that the online powders that you see from like Chewy, things like that, that stuff don't work. I mean, maybe it's worked for somebody, but I've never heard of that stuff working. You know, if it was that strong enough to really alter a female's hormones, I don't think they would be selling it over the counter, just in my opinion. But like I said, that stuff, I've gotten so many people that have come to me and said they've tried that stuff and it has not worked for them. I don't even bother trying that stuff. Yet again, I don't even really bother trying to bring my females into heat. But like I said, I would say you're wasting your money if you're gonna try that stuff. That's just my opinion. I mean, drop a comment down below if maybe you found one of those powders that works, but I don't really believe any of those herbal products really kind of work as far as bringing the female into heat, you know, because of what it's so drastic and dramatic what you're trying to do, and how much it takes to really alter the female's hormones to be able to start going into ovulation. I don't think that's something they would sell over the counter. Like I said, on like a Chewy for like 10-20 bucks, but I could be wrong. So that's one thing, like I said. And then so that was the estromate. And then there was one other product, Ludolously. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. That's another one I haven't really heard of, but same thing, looked like a similar of an effect. For, you know, that one actually, I think there was more information about bringing dogs into heat, but the other one seemed more similar to just like a PG600, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, if you ask me my opinion, And like I said, I'm not an expert on this. I would try, you know, if I had to use it, and I explained, you know, when and why I would use it. I'm hoping I'm getting everything in this video, but I just find the HCG, and I believe that it's less harsh on the dog's overall body, reproductive system, things like that. You know, so if I was going to use any of these, I would probably just go with the HCG. That's what I've used. That's what I know. As well as, I mean, I'll just give you a quick rundown. Like with the ACG, I've had some scenarios where some females, for example, like I had to give it to them over a more extended period amount of time because it was just more trickier bringing them into heat. Some of the things I've found when bringing dogs into heat is it can make things more trickier when it comes to breeding them, because their cycle wouldn't be as normal, in my opinion, you know, as normal as if you just let it come in naturally. Some of them, it's just perfectly fine. So it's kind of like a crapshoot, in my opinion, when it comes to like bringing the females into heat. I know some people who have had no issues whatsoever, you know. Like I said, I haven't really had any issues. Like I said, I just had some females that their heats, they spiked a little bit faster than normal, I guess you would say. So it's not really like a big deal. I guess maybe it's a good thing. And if you ask me, you know, you try to breed anything sooner than the 6 months since when she had her last heat, and it's gonna be a lot harder to get her to even take, in my opinion, you know. So definitely be mindful of that, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could go ahead and try to bring her in sooner, thinking that, hey, you know what, I missed this heat, I'm gonna go ahead and bring her right back into heat so I could accomplish, you know, my amazing breeding. But it's actually gonna be a lot harder if you don't wait that amount of time and let her body reset. Another thing as well that I have found, which is kind of odd, is actually after using, and I can only speak on the HCG because yet again, I haven't used a lot of these different drugs for that, but with the HCG, I've also found that a female, and this has only happened like maybe like 2 or 3 times, I found with this few females that we did it with, that their heat cycles actually became rather regular afterwards. So that, I guess you could say that's a positive as well, you know, that the heat cycle was actually normal after we did the heat shot, which I found to be super interesting. You know, maybe somebody knows more about that, they could drop a comment down below. So as I said, guys, like I said, I'm not any expert when it comes to these heat shots and things like that. I don't really use them anymore because my females have been pretty good about coming into heat. Like I said, if I had a female that took too long, then maybe it's something I would consider. But you guys know what the definition of what I mean when I say, you know, females taking too long. Other than that, I am perfectly patient. I wait for my females to come into heat. Luckily, we've been really good about, we do our progesterone testing, so we don't miss breedings. If I do miss a breeding, hey, I wait for the female to come back into heat. I don't go ahead and try to rush things, you know. And that's what we do. You know, I don't want to go and mess with the female's hormones if I don't have to. And for you guys that are interested in, you know, bringing your females into heat, if you guys kind of, like I said, I purposely say this to the end of the video for a reason, and you guys understand now a little bit more the reasoning and as to why you would bring a female into heat. I'm going to put a link in the description down below as to where you can get it. That's where I get mine. There's like other, you know, meds that are great to have for every breeder. Every breeder should have them. So check out the link down below. And I hope, you know, hopefully that's helpful. And if I'm missing anything, if there's anything you guys think, you know, want to add or whatever, you know, definitely drop a comment down below. And I'm definitely going to check out the comments, read the comments, things like that. And I hope this information was helpful. I hope it was useful. And I'll see you guys in the next episode of Breeders Hacks.